right, everyone. Good evening or good late afternoon. It is only 5 o'clock on the East Coast. So it is not quite nighttime. It is a late evening. So if you are with us, we are glad to have you here. I am so excited to have this conversation tonight with Dr. Epps, and we're going to learn a lot. So if you're here, I do see people on. So if you are here, please just say hello in the chat. Tell us where you're from, what's your position. I would like for this night to be collaborative because we are doing a collaboration over competition, which we do with Alve Pro, and I'll speak more on that later. So it's all about collaboration. If you have questions, if you have, affirmations, anything like that, please put them in the chat. But we'd love to know where you're from, who you are, what is your position, so that we can engage with you as well. So welcome to Collaboration Over Competition, a virtual conversation tonight with Dr. Elvis Epps, who's joining me. I am really excited that I have this pleasure of speaking with him this evening. He is my dream guest, so I'm really happy about this. And I wanted to share with you who I am. If you have not been with me, I am Joyce Conley. I am the owner of Alve Pro LLC, founder of Alve Pro, a network for positive professionals where we support the development and growth of aspiring and new leaders, specifically assistant principals, because I am a current assistant principal and I love my job. And I have a passion of helping other assistant principals as they're on their journey into the role, and in the role that first 2 years, it's a struggle. So that's what I do. We have a group on Facebook. We have over 4,500 aspiring or current assistant principals. Some have already moved on to principalship. Some have gotten jobs at the district, but our group is amazing. And tonight I wanted to bring this knowledge to you from Dr. Epps, and I'm going to welcome him in a minute, but let me give you a little bit of information about him. So Dr. Epps, I speak about, I'll say his name sometimes just in our county because he was here before, and they'll say, oh yeah, I know him. I'm like, you do? Like, that was a long time ago. But he has left his impact on our county. So I'm really happy to have him here. He is known to be a transformational leader for his strategies, his best practices, and leading that winning culture. He is an author, a coach, consultant. He just recently published his third book that he's going to talk about later this evening. So I am really excited again to have you here, Dr. Epps. Welcome.
And I'm happy to be here. And thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Good. So tell us a little bit about your background.
I have been in education, public education, for just over 30 years, matter of fact, and it's come to a wonderful end. And if you go to my website at elviseppspeaks.com, you will see one of the videos the local news channels did. They fooled me. They told me they were coming to talk to me about students, but when they showed up, they want to talk about legacy that I have left. And I've only been in the school district here in West Palm Beach 6 years, but at my school that I retired from, 5.5 years. But it was one of those situations where I was drafted. And if everybody knows, you show up and the superintendent said, I have a school I want you to go to. That's called drafted when you don't apply. But so I was asked to go there in a nice way, but I knew I had to go there. It was God's calling. And I went there and we turned that school around. You will see a slide in the presentation of where we were to where we are now. We went from 74% graduation rate to 95.4 in a matter of my 5 years there as leader. And we had to do a lot of shifting. So what I put in my book, these are my personal journeys, and I didn't have to read anyone else's research. These are things that I have done, and I want to share with you. My passion now that I retired on August the 30th, but for the remain of my time here on earth, I want to just dedicate my life to helping rising, aspiring school leaders, district leaders, and just navigating through this whirlwind we call school leadership. But things have changed a lot. Now things are more political. So with 30 years in education, I'm very happy for that. And the impact or legacy that I wanted to leave is that I was a caring leader who I knew your name, and I want to make sure that you were taken care of first as a person, and then your job description was always second. And I learned that because when I was a first-year teacher, one of my leading teachers in alternative ed, advised me to don't get to the instructions right away when you see students first thing in the morning. He said, make sure you talk about the needs and how they're doing, and then you get to the business at hand. And prior to education, I served in the United States Navy, and that's what brought me to Florida. I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, went to Alcorn State University, did some traveling with the Navy, and then when I got out of the Navy, well, relocated to Florida, I finished up that degree at the University of Central Florida, got my master's and got my doctorate from Nova Southeastern University in 2007. So I've been assistant principal, matter of fact, in 2002, and then I made principal in 2009 is when I got the job, and I reported the first week of January there in Orange County. So 20 years of my career was in Orange County schools. So I'm excited and to be here. So anything I can do for you, I may not bring it up, but you got the chat box. I do want you to talk to me and just ask some questions. And it can be totally unrelated to this, but we're not going to bog down the presentation this evening. All right. I hope Miss Powdar, Patrice, thank you so much. I don't want to bog down the chat in the presentation tonight with a lot of things on the left or right. So please use the chat box. During the presentation, I won't be able to see all of your comments, but Miss Conley definitely will be able to see them. She can chime in on what we can do. Okay.
Yeah. And as you see, if you leave a comment, I can put it on the screen so that he can see it. And if we can, answer that question at that moment or at the end, we can go through the comments. Okay. All right. And I went to UCF too. So that's 3 of us. All right. So you ready, Dr. Epps?
Oh, I am ready. Yes. I'm just making sure they have their pens and paper, because you're going to see the presentation. You should already have received the presentation.
So I put the link. I'm just trying to put it here, and it's just acting a little weird with the link because of the commenting. But if you're in our Facebook group, you definitely, it's right there under the live. So you can click on that link and you'll see the presentation. And I'm going to put in the action planner right now. So then I'll put them in all the platforms that I have. Okay. So it's right there in those groups.
All right. And then last but not least, before we go to the presentation, I'm excited. She mentioned the 3rd book. I just uploaded, I wrote another book during the pandemic. I saw a lot of things that was just bothering me as a school leader. And I wrote a new book. A book is titled New Principle, No Problem, and Leading a Winning Culture Without Losing Your Mind. And it's been very popular. I've been able to speak at some national conferences and some keynote speakings. And so I knew it was a hot topic because I put it on the line. I don't use the education and research and jargon. I put it on the table because that's exactly how you eat your food. I hope you eat it on the table. So I put it on the table so we can keep it real. It's to the point, and something I wrote from my journeys. And I definitely want each and every last one of you to purchase a copy. And tonight, I don't know how Mrs. Conley's going to handle this. The book is uploaded on Amazon. You go to Amazon, you will find New Principle, No Problem. And then I will be able to sign a book, and I want to be able to give it to one of you when I get the copy in myself. I want to make sure I send it to you. So she'll make the arrangements, and then she'll get your address. I will sign it, autograph it, and I can mail it to you at no expense to her. That's just my appreciation for sharing the knowledge, because that's what we do now at this stage of life, to share the knowledge. And so anything you see in there, feel free to use. Can't use it when I leave this earth. So I want to make sure you continue to spread the knowledge. All right.
All right.
What's next?
And I'm sharing everything. So
okay.
Are you ready?
Yes. Am I the only? Oh, you know what? I see where you are. I was in the private chat, but I didn't go to the comments box. Okay, now I can see. I can see what you're doing now. Trace Dolores Conley Rogers. The name sounds very familiar there. Miss Conley, you're frozen. She may have to come back in. I hope everybody's doing great tonight. Give her a second to come back in. We want to make sure everything is up and running when I start the presentation.
Ask me what happened. No clue. Went down.
Yeah, your face is, you're coming through, but it's choppy.
It's coming back. It's coming back. I have no idea what happened. StreamYard, they love me, but then sometimes they don't. So we're good. Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, definitely can hear and see you. Yeah, you just froze last time in time.
Story of my life. It happens every time. There's nothing I don't know how to fix that. All right, you ready, Dr. Epps?
Yes. Let me go ahead and share the screen, and then we'll go there. And I'm gonna go. I'm gonna not read all the slides to you. I want to get to the 7 that I really want to get to. For the sake of time, when people show up, they don't need all the backstory. You guys know exactly what's going on, but it's some research I put in that's going to really bring some things to life for you. So let's have a good time.
Yes, sir.
Let me put that.
Again, if you're there, please let us know that you're there. Say hello while we're working through these. It's, technology. It happens.
All right. So, can you see me? My screen?
I see you. I don't see your screen though.
Oh, you do not?
No. And we worked through this.
All right. Yeah, no, we went through it. We practiced before. Yeah, we did all the run through before. Can you see it now?
Oh, yeah.
You see the screen on my PowerPoint?
No.
No?
I see you.
All right, let me find out what's going on. Oh, I know what I did wrong.
Okay.
Can you see the PowerPoint?
Oh, there it is. Bam.
Okay. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I forgot to click a window. It's a new platform, which I like. All right. Well, I'm going to make sure everyone is ready and you can see, and you'll let me know because, like I said, I cannot see you if I have this. But I want to start the presentation off. This is the title. We talk about 7 critical strategies to lead your staff through change. And so I really want you to understand this is not the title of the book, but this is the title of the presentation that's based on the book. So when we talk about change and cultural shifts, you really have to know what you're doing. And so I'm going to take 30 years of experience and some of my leadership experience from the military. Everything I knew, I put it into this presentation, but I've used it at many of my schools. And I think I've worked at like 7 or 9 different schools, So here are the objectives for the presentation. And we're going to provide some tools to help you as you implement. I'm not hitting this. I don't know why it's going to the next slide. A little wonky over here. And we'll talk about the 7 strategies. We're going to identify some key distractions that hinder principals from focusing on their identified goals. Sometimes you get started in one direction and then things happen. That's what you call managing the unexpected, which is another book I'm working on. Believe it or not, I finished one. I'm already in the middle of another one. Identify 3 organizational structures. And I really want you to look at this because everything in this PowerPoint, this presentation centers around 3 things. I call it my CSI model, not crime scene investigation, but culture, systems of accountability, and your instructional practices. Because everything we see, say, and do as instruction leaders centers around the instruction that takes place in the classroom. So I really want you to do that. Yes.
So we see your screen, but we don't see the PowerPoint.
What screen do you see?
So we see where you had the link. So you're hitting on downloads. Yeah, if you triple click that, maybe.
Well, let me back out of it.
Okay.
And I'll click out of that.
If you bring it back, I'll shoot it into the stream. We have some people from Detroit, Palm Beach, Virginia.
Palm Beach are my people. Unless it's me. You see more than just me?
Yeah, I don't see you on here. They commented.
Yeah, those are my people there.
All right, I'm going to leave here. And someone from Texas, Naples. Thank you for sticking around. We're trying to get it together. It's going to be great and it's going to be worth it. So we appreciate you guys.
All right, what about now?
All right, here we go. Bam, I see it. Well, it's coming. I see it, but they don't yet. There you go.
What
All
about
right,
now?
we can
I'm on
see
the second
session
screen.
objectives. Yes, sir.
Okay, we object. All right, people, y'all got to let me know when you don't see my slide tonight. I want you to speak up, and this is your time. Your time is money. We want to make sure we utilize it correctly and appropriately. If you look at objective number two is really, really, really how you handle your day. When I talk about distractions, I'm talking about self-care, self-management, how to prioritize you, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you're not up to par, then you're going to try to handle everything and burn yourself out. And when you burn yourself out, you make poor decisions, you make bad decisions, rash decisions that can get you in trouble, and you start hating your job. So you see my 3Ds down there? You do it, delegate it, or dump it. As an assistant principal, you usually only receive it in from the principal. And sometimes you may feel you're doing more work than the principal, but you got to understand they're the one get paid to sit in that chair. So do what you have to do. Keep moving, keep smiling. And right here to slide number 3, this is just a stat that was written from Mike Zeleznik. The number of high school principals who consider leaving the job has skyrocketed during the pandemic as new responsibilities piled up and controversies have erupted over mask mandates, critical race theory. And if you're in the state of Florida, they got this woke thing where they don't want you to talk about anything that's going to offend one race over the other, and then other issues. And, you know, Florida is a hotbed for a lot of things that's going on and a lot of lawsuits. So right now it's just crazy. So let me get down to number 4. According to the latest research, I want you to look at this. You should have this PowerPoint. But bullet number 2, principals of color, female principals especially, principals serving in high poverty schools and principals serving in schools with high enrollment of students of color were especially likely to suffer stress. Now, if you agree with this, please, please, please chat in the box, do a thumbs up and say, oh yeah, that's me. Somebody's talking about me all the way. And so we're looking at us. You're talking about the stress level that we as leaders feel. And the third bullet is supporting teachers' well-being. The hotbed word out there in the field of education now is the whole teacher. Because right now you have some teachers who on your staff, they're not 100%. You want to know when will they be back? Or they still act like this the early stages of the COVID, but we're still in the COVID, and we still have a pandemic going on. But now we have more resources and knowledge on how to manage around it, through it. I mean, so we ain't going around it, just through it. So there are a lot of teachers who are still struggling. So let's keep them in our prayers. But you're going to have to really focus on them and find out what's going on. Remember, no teacher, no instruction. Substitutes are good, but they not good enough. And so you have to make sure you look at that. Look at the second bullet. By the end of 2021, we're talking about 8 months ago, job satisfaction has fallen to an ultimate low with almost 4 in 10 principals. And I guarantee you, go back and try to survey some of those 4 in 10, the numbers probably go up higher, saying that they are likely to quit in the next 3 years, according to the NASSP conference, and it's pretty big. This COVID thing has really played a number on some people. I was working out at a short story, working out at Planet Fitness, and one of my colleagues, who's a principal, he was there, and he was also there in the gym, and he had this long look on his face. And I said, man, what's going on? He said, man, I don't know. Great guy too. Wonderful, recognized principal. He said, I don't know if I can take this anymore. I said, take what? He says, just the game, the politics. And he told me in January, he said, I have a lot to consider between here and this summer. Joker did not wait until summer. He left in May. He left in May. He said, I'm gone. I don't even know if he did graduation or not, but just as a high school. But he said just the toll is taken on his body, his time away from his family. He has kids in middle and high school. He said the buildings, they see him more than his own family, and it's starting to affect him. And so he didn't like that at all. And so I just want you to keep that in mind. You have to really balance, and we'll talk about that in one of the slides further into the presentation. If you have questions, need more elaboration on some things, please just put it in the chat. Leadership matters. Principal leadership has significant effects on student learning, second only to the effects of equity of curriculum and teachers' instruction. And so you see exactly the impact that we play as school leaders, that we play. What we think, what we say, what we do has a profound effect and direct impact on the schools and how we do things. Now, this is a snapshot of my school when I was at Lake Worth High School. The new principal has already been, is already there. Like I said, I retired on the 30th of August, and I have been on a wonderful summer vacation because I had 2,300 sick leave and vacation time all added up. So they allowed me to take, it was over 2,300. So I'm still over 2,100 as we speak. So Lake Worth High School, it was a school definitely in the news, had a lot of things happening around the campus and on the campus, and it was chaos. It was almost like the OK Corral at sometimes. So I went over to the school, took some of my leadership experience, and you see that I had my work cut out, not only shifting the culture and improving the climate, but if you look at some of the numbers here, you see that the absentee rate definitely was higher. Student was higher. Graduation was low. We increased that, thank God. My Hispanic numbers went from 48% to 63%. My African-American white students still stayed around 5%. Now you said, wait a minute, you in Palm Beach County. That's right. Almost 88% of my students, 88% of my students were not even born in the United States. That is my minority rate outside of the United States. And others, we have over, you see the next bullet down, students represent 31 countries on my campus. 31 countries, and that's over 40 different languages spoken, because even the students that I received from Guatemala, they came in with 4 or 5 different languages. And so it was a tough one. And another tough one, and some of you probably have seen this, the students who come to your campus, and like I experienced over and over again, over 500 kids just on my campus from Guatemala, they came from villages where there was no formal education at all. So to come to the United States, immigration said that, all right, you're in the United States, you must go to school if you want to stay in the United States. So they show up at 16, 17 years old, 18, and never been in a school. And then on the flip side of that coin, some of those kids were gifted in some of their countries where they came from, but yet they don't speak English. And because they don't speak English, we tend to dumb down the curriculum instead of meeting the students where they are, building them up, and then providing the resource they need to be successful.
Right.
800 LY students. LY, those are students been in the United States less than 2 years, and English is their primary language in the home and with them. Over 800 on my campus. So I had 2 ESOL coordinators on my campus in a team of almost 9 or 10 people just to handle all the influx of students. So this fall, last year we worked on a dual enrollment for our Spanish students, but we also did a dual enrollment for my Haitian students who spoke Creole. Now, Creole is not the official language. It's what's spoken, almost saying, Spanglish, but it's the spoken language of the students, and we had some instruction, but that's a curriculum where we had to put some things together to really help those students transition to the United States, transition in the classroom, and then also transition as we prepare them for state exams after 2 years. So without further delay, we're just going to make sure that we continue to do what we need to do and work very hard. Let me just go down so we can hear some of the challenges that you.
So Dr. Epps, we're not seeing the slides that you're referring to. So we're still on According to Learning Policy Institute.
Wow, yeah, that's slide number 4.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, you're at 4.
No, we're past that.
Is it just uploading slow?
Yes, it's just going slow. So wherever you are, click on that, and then we'll see if we catch up.
So you all didn't even see this slide about my school profile.
We heard it. We just didn't see it.
Oh, I'm sitting there talking. Yeah, thank you for letting me know, because nobody in the chat hit me
They
up.
did. So. You can't see it. I have to click on it.
No, they have my tech. They have my phone number. They know they can hit the brother up. Like, slow down, dude. So that's the school profile. You see, there's a lot of things here, and teacher absentee rate, and it was a lot. It was huge, 8% down to 1.1, and then COVID kicked in, and then all of a sudden it just messed all the momentum up. So as I started working as the school leader with my team, I had 7 assistant principals. We had to put our brains together on how do we get this momentum back, and we know we had to start with some slow rolls. And these slow rolls were dealing with confidence on us going, with putting measures in place on the campus to make sure that teachers know that we had some procedures for COVID, the best that we had. Put some procedures for students, had to remind students of some things that would help them to remain safe. So, and then just talk to them. Do you see the next slide? Challenges leaders are facing now. Ms. Conley?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, thanks. Excessive absences from teachers, and some are just quitting. Just this summer alone, I had about 7 teachers who just left the profession. I'm not even talking about moving, just this, they had enough. They wouldn't found jobs doing other things. And I had some to move. So at Lakewood High School, we averaged between 15 to 25 teachers every year. 15 to 25 positions we have to hire every year. When you're at a high Title I school, it's a lot of work. Whether it's elementary, middle, or high school, it's a lot of work. It doesn't even matter which level. It's a lot of work, and you got to know what's going on and learn how to juggle. So I don't know how many of you out there at a high Title I school, but the challenges are far beyond what your traditional school, non-Title I school see. You still have challenges, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to the support from the parents and the students' learning ability, but you get a lot of support and money to help you out there. All right, the next one is just, where do we go from here? It says, as leaders, we have a lot of things we were confused about, puzzled, just unsure, we just lost and baffled. So we want to make sure we understood. So 7 critical strategies needed to successfully lead your staff through change. And let's get right to the meat of why we're here today. Number 1, meet with your stakeholders to understand and establish expectations and outcomes. You have to be an effective communicator. And they have to, as you stand up in front of your team, they have to understand that you need to understand that you need to be very clear and your plan needs to flow. And they need to hear some of the things they shared with you in your plan. So don't just say, at my last school, this is what I did, so I know it'll work here. No. Every school is different. Every climate is different, but you have to always improve and clean things up. But what are your vision? What's the vision? How are you going to take me? What is the next 90 days going to look like? What are they going to look like? What are they going to feel like? When you visit my classroom, what are you looking for? How are you going to support me when I'm going through a lot of things? And so every teacher is different. At Lakewood High School, we had up to 250 employees. 250. We're talking about 18 in the cafeteria, 17 custodians. It was a big number. 178 teachers, and the rest were just non-instructional front office, police officers, just people all over the place. And so, you have to set the tone and you have to stick to what you say. And so when you look at this thing, it says build, the principle should build shared understanding. And you get this by having you sit in chat sessions. You sit down and talk to the teachers and you ask one guiding questions. And if you ever thought about coaching, one of the most biggest guiding questions you can ask is what's on your mind. And then they tell you things, tell me more. Please, unpack that for me. And you want to don't give them any avenue. Don't give them anything to lead out with. You want to hear exactly what's on their mind, because if you speak first, then they'll know whether or not they want to speak to you about it. They're like, "Oh, you already have your mind made up." You're like, "No, this is a time where I just want to hear what your concerns are," and you can put it in the form of, what's working, what's not working, what do we need to improve, what do we need to get rid of, and there are some things we need to re-examine. So you can leave that part of your coaching questions. Build time for collaborative conversation. Some of the best conversations I had wasn't in my office. It's when I walked on the campus or the hallways with some of the teachers when they least expected it. I saw them, "Hey, how you doing, Miss So-and-so? You have a second?" "Yeah, I'm just walking. I'm going in the same direction." Whether you were going in the same direction or not, you just say that. "I'm going in the same direction. Hey, so how's it going? I see you're doing some great things and I just love what you're doing. What can I do to help you? And I love what you're doing." And, you just go from there. Here are five ideas to help you to be a more effective communicator. Now, John Iggs is one of my good friends. He's a business leadership. He's a former teacher, but now he does a lot of business coaching and leadership management. And he and I talked about this slide. And I'm not going to read it to you, so take a second to go over those. But I guarantee you, you must be an effective communicator. You must know exactly what you're going to say, when you're going to say it, how you're going to say it, and to whom you're going to say it to. You need to make sure that you're in the right place for the right message at the right time. And so keep that in mind. And everything you see, say, or do, I guarantee you, your teachers, those around you, are taking notes. They taking notes because they want to know exactly what you're talking about. And then they will hold you to it. Some key items to review during your first weeks on the job. If you're a new principal, you're looking to move up, here are some things that I really know. If you're inside my book, once you buy the book, trust me, the book is just filled with a whole lot of helpful nuggets, leadership nuggets, I call them. This is just a handful just to get you started. You can go over the school improvement plan and see what's working. Get with your CTA, your union people, find out what some of the complaints or concerns were from the previous year. To make sure you address those or you don't repeat them. And if there's something already in the queue that wasn't resolved when the last principal left, you want to make sure that you address those and get that off your desk, because you don't want to be dealing with that. And trust me, there's an 85-15-5 rule. Almost 85% of the teacher says, thank you. 15%, not 15%. Not 15%. That 10% would say, I could care less who's in the chair. I'm just coming to work. And you got 5%, they don't even like you before they even knew you were born. And so you can't play games with them. You got to be strictly business. And you just have to say, look, you don't have to like me, but you're going to respect me and you will do your job. Bottom line, you will do your job. And if they do something great, compliment them. They're not on your bad list. You just know that they could care less about you. But if you walk out on the streets of America and you ask people, "Hey, do you like me?" They're going to say, "I don't know you, so leave me alone, fool." So you just keep going, do your job, do it to the best of your ability. Now, can anybody tell me why I put a school yearbook, the fourth bullet down? I put there your school yearbook. Anybody type in there, why do you think I put a yearbook, if you have one? It's kind of like I can't see the chat. Anybody typing? Miss Conley, can you hear me?
Oops, not yet. I'm muting myself so you don't hear me typing. Not yet. I don't see anyone putting the answer in the chat just yet.
Okay, let me go ahead for the sake of time. The school yearbook, I put that in because it's important. You get to see faces. You get to put names with faces. Huh?
There you go. They're answering now.
Okay, what do they have?
Names to faces. Getting to
Yep.
know as many faces relates to building school culture, to get to know faces of staff and students.
Yep.
Visual demographics. Good job, guys. Rolling.
I love it. And also, one of the things I found out that it helped me, I get to learn what some of this, what I'm using this term, sacred cow. There are some festivals and events that take place on your campus that if you don't look at a couple of yearbooks, you're going to come in and say, no, we don't need to do that. I was at an elementary school called Washington Shores. Some of you probably have heard of Washington Shores Elementary School. I was a dean there from 2000 to 2002. So at Washington Shores, they have this thing, they call it the Maypole Day. And if anybody's at Washington Shores, shout out to you, or went to Washington Shores, you know what I'm talking about. I didn't have a clue what it was. And it is that game, you know, the maypole, you put the stringers, you go around the pole. They turn that into an annual festival, almost a homecoming, where people who used to go to the school, kids would dress up. It was big. They would have vendors out there, food, dances, and it was huge. And you dare not go to your school and say, hey, I don't know what this is. We don't have time for it. But by asking questions and going looking in your yearbook, you can get a great idea. Like my school, when I was at Lake Western, the number of students of a Hispanic, we had a lot of students from Mexico and Central America that came to Lake Western. And we had one of the highest mobility rates there, but things kind of panned out. Here's one thing I found out from looking at this. There are some things that you have on your campus that if you don't have it, you really need to consider it. My ELL population of Hispanic student at my high school, former high school, Lake Worth High School, it went from 98% when I went there 5.5 years ago, February of 2017. It's over 63 to 65% now. So guess what? What's the big day? When you have your Hispanic Cultural Day. Not only that, a Cinco de Mayo Day, de Mayo. So there are two big days that you better recognize. They're big days. There are other days, don't get me wrong, but 68 to 65% of the students. And when it comes to my Hispanic students, I have more males on my campus than females. Wow. Think about it. All right, let's go down to the next one for the sake of time. Number two, establish the vision and mission statement along with the core values and your beliefs. Then communicate those to your stakeholders. I talked about that earlier. If you don't have a plan of where you're going, any road will get you lost, get you down the street. But you need to make sure, here's the catcher. If this is your mission statement and this is your vision statement, hear me, people, includes every student. We're talking about your special needs, your ELL, your gifted, your average kids, those kids who just don't care. The kids have a high failure rate. Some of the kids just like, I don't know why I'm here. Your high discipline kids. Your vision statement includes every kid on your campus. So when you establish your school improvement, your mission and vision statement, along with your core values, when teachers come to you and they say, oh, I want to, can we go on a field trip? We want to go to Disney because it's so-and-so day. And you really have to assess that, does this tie in with the standards? Does this field trip tie in with our goals and our mission? If we are to increase reading, for our lower 25%, and we want to increase our ELA proficiency rating by 10, 15%, well, some things are going to have to give.
Right.
And then you're going to have to give more in the classroom. And you do have to celebrate. Don't get me wrong. So don't be confused about that one. But make sure that whatever they see, say, and do, it ties around your vision, your mission, your core values, and then the standards in which, or unit in which they are teaching. So keep that in mind. And so think before you speak. I want you to just look at this slide. I'm not going to read it to you. It says just be able to, some clarity about your goals, commitment about the goals, agreement to the goals and systems, and then coaching to achieve the goals and systems. I've used the word coaching several times. If you learn as a school leader to be more of a coach than be seen as someone who's judgmental or evaluative, now you're going to always be seen. I don't care what people say. I don't care if y'all go to happy hour together. It doesn't matter. You're still a school leader. You're held to a different standard, higher standard, matter of fact. So you're always on call. So don't let anybody fool you on that. But make sure that you know what you're saying, and make sure you walk this every day. You walk this every day. Put in your newsletter if you need to. Next slide. Analyze, number 3 is analyze school data to determine instructional strengths and concerns. I say numbers don't lie. When I look at numbers, I look at everything. I look at trends and patterns. I even look at which teacher is having success and which one's not. And then you look at what time of day. If you're going to have some of your core kids, some of your struggling kids, matter of fact, have that thing in the morning, because after they eat lunch, it's over, baby. It's over. It's like fourth quarter and you're down by 25 points. They do not, their brains just shut down because they eat that food and they want to go back and sit in the classroom. So make sure if you're going to hit them hard and heavy with academics, try to schedule them part of your master schedule, having those kids first thing in the morning between whatever time school starts and then your first lunch. Now, if you had one of those big schools where lunch starts at 9:30 to 10 o'clock, I don't know what to tell you about that one, but you got to take advantage of what you do. Also, when your numbers, what conversations are your teachers talking about? If your teachers are not talking data when they get together for your PLCs and some of your data chat meetings, and they're talking about where they went to dinner, that's counterproductive. That's a waste of time. You have to be very clear. Now, listen to me, administrators. When you have your PLCs and data chats, if you have an instructional coach, they're the one, or your teacher leaders, they're the one who should be running these data chats. Why is that important? Because they're in the classroom. Your teacher worked very closely with them. Your job as an administrator is just too overwhelming. You got a million things going on. You don't have time, man. You can do it if you want. Don't get me wrong. But just be mindful of your time. And if you have a department chair who can run these meetings, who's been trained and coached by you, then you be in there. But definitely try to attend as many as you can. And then your department chair or instructional leader, coach can give you the data in the minutes, but you can almost set the tone of what needs to happen. There was a time when I had to sit down as a principal, sit down with a group of teachers who were just confused. And they said, Dr. Epps, we don't know what to look for. We're science teachers or we're math teachers. How do we incorporate writing? And, we're looking at these writing strategies and reading strategies in the classroom. They said we just don't know. And so I had to sit down with them and show them some strategies. And that's some of your closed reading strategies. Some of you CLOZE, some of you are already familiar with that. So just continue to grow as a leader. And matter of fact, these are type of interview questions when you get to the next level. When you look at data is going to always be our interview questions. And so listen to me, take some notes, and I guarantee you won't be sorry. And number 4 is identify your strengths and weaknesses within your SWOT. SWOT. Some of you should be familiar with this. When you look at school growth and your school improvement plan, and if you have not worked on your school improvement plan, that is your gateway to understand what's going on in the school. I advise all of you to get involved with your school improvement committee. When you have your SAC meetings, that's the nuts and bolts. That's the heart and soul of what happens on your campus. You need to be able to explain when you have these interviews and you want to move up to the next level of what's going on. And don't just say, well, my background is in English, I don't understand the math. Fool on you. When you become a school leader, everything stops on your desk and everything is under your umbrella. So let me go to the next slide, show you some things what should be on the on this SMART goals here. So your SMART goals, you have several things here. And when you look at it, you have your specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. If you have a goal and you don't have a deadline, it's just like running, I don't even want to say a marathon. We know a marathon is 26.3 miles. But if you don't have it, you just say, we're going to do this year, and there's no accountability, nothing's going to happen. So please keep that in mind, that you know exactly what you're doing. And right here, we're looking at your strengths, your weaknesses, and some questions that will help you identify exactly what needs to happen. All right. I'm moving a little fast. So if you need me to slow down and, go back to another slide, or just text Miss Conley and she'll pass that on to me. You have these slides. I want you to have it. I really want you to enjoy your Sunday evening, but I'm going to give you some nuggets that's going to help you become a better leader. And it's going to put you above your counterpart. So when you do apply, you have some things, conversation you can really talk on. You can always go back to this presentation, record it, and you can just take notes yourself. and I want you to be your best. Let's go to the next one. Here's where I really want you to look at some things. Number 5 of the 7 critical areas: establish clear expectation and responsibility for every department and every administrator. If you're just at a school and everybody's your friend, you need to leave that school. You're no good there. I'm just letting you know. Like I said, I keep it real. And you're not there to be anyone's friends. It's a business you run. And that's what principals, that's what we do. We are business leaders. One of the sad things about our school leaders, the ones sometimes they grow up, they're teachers, and then the progression is on to assistant principal or dean, assistant principal, instructional coach, or whatever you want to call it, and then on the principal. All their training and leadership come from the seat of the school. Well, my doctorate degree is in organizational leadership. I didn't want everything to be just one-dimensional education. I learned a lot, first of all, because I was 33 years old when I started teaching. Remember, I said earlier, I was in the Navy. I went to college, then I went to the Navy, and then I decided to become a teacher at 33. So I had some life experience and leadership experience prior to becoming a teacher. So that helped me. Here are the 3 areas. Go to the bottom, you see your culture and climate, your systems of accountability, and your instructional practices. Now, let me ask you this question. If I were to walk your campus and I ask you about culture and climate, and you said, okay, we're doing this, this. If I walk your campus without you, would I be able to see exactly what you share with me? This is what I do when I do instructional rounds and coaching sessions. Not to catch anybody on a lie, but just it says what you're believing and what you wrote does not match. Your practice does not match what you preach. And so we need to work on that. Systems of accountability. How are we going to do business every day? When someone comes to work late and you know they're late, you see them sneaking out the back or coming in the parking lot after school start, or they leave without getting a sub or having sub plans. Happens all the time, and school's already started, so you probably already faced that. What do? If you don't do anything, it grows. So if it bothers you, do something about it. And even if it doesn't bother you, you need to have a system of accountability to make sure, okay, and this is where your faculty handbook comes in. The last one is instructional practices. What are you going to look for when you walk in the classroom? What are your expectations for the teachers? Can the kids just get up and leave? I believe, and I always practice, you don't leave 10 minutes after the bell rings, and you don't leave 10 minutes before the bell to dismiss. Once that bell rings, you sit in the classroom, teacher's going over instructions and everything that needs to happen, whole group instruction. And so you start working. If you need to use the restroom, that's different. Kid forgot the medication, those emergencies. So that doesn't go part of that. So just make sure your practices definitely match so you can get the most time on task with your teacher and student interaction. You want to make sure. And then when I walk into your classroom, tell me 4 things. This is one of my interview questions. Tell me 4 things that I should see when I walk into your classroom. And you should know what are 4 things you look for. And when you meet with your teachers, you're going to meet with them. And you can say, hey, look, here are 4 things. For consistency, here are 4 things. For example, teacher to student interaction, student to teacher interaction, small group instructions. You want to see some kind of rotational model if you're in elementary school. High schools can do it too. But also the conversation. You want to hear the conversation. And last but not least, make sure the work. Here's the big thing. The work has to match the grade level, and make sure the books and everything is grade level appropriate. There's an app you can download on your phone. It is from the Florida Department of Education. There's an app. You can go to it just on your standards. And when you walk into a classroom, if someone has a standard or an objective on the board, you can look on your phone and see, does the activity match the standard? And somebody can do a great job talking about dinosaurs, but it has nothing to do with the standard. And so you need to make sure you're aware of that. And so on this next slide, Mrs. Conley, can everyone see that action planner?
Yes.
Okay, here's what the rubber meets the road. Administrators, I'm putting you to work. I told you, this is like a half to a full day workshop I do with people, but I'm giving you guys just within an hour. When you look at this action planner research, and I got permission from ASCD to use this, because I shared it with when I spoke at their international conference in Chicago this past spring. I shared this with a lot of the people at the ASCD who did not even know it existed. You started with the practice. What is the problem we want to identify? What is the problem you want to identify? And you says you want to increase the number of teachers or teacher retention. and as growth and development, something like that. We want to increase teacher retention within the school. And then you said the root cause. Teachers feel the principal, if we do this, then we can help teachers with that. Number 3. Well, some of the root causes. Some of the teachers feel that the exams, too many exams, and it's too stressful, too overworked, too overwhelmed, kids out of control. They were not prepared. If you worked in a Title I school, you will experience what I experienced. I hired more non-education college of education majors than I did education majors, because a lot of people with those education majors do not like to come to Title I schools. I'm just talking about 20, 30 years of just being 27, 28 years of being in Title I schools. So you get people who are second career people. Matter of fact, I'm one. And because remember, I told you I was in the Navy prior to becoming an educator. And so I'm a second career person. And so you have to look at these things. How do you make things happen? Number 4, you look at input. What your individuals can help you. What activities going to help you? And then what are your short-term, midterm, and long-term outcome? Take that slide right here. Matter of fact, what Ms. Conley did, she put a link where you can download this, and you can feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my website, my email, my phone number, and say, Dr. Epps, how do I use this? Because I want to perfect this with my team, because this is still early in the year. Once you enlarge this, if you have a poster maker within your campus, you can put this thing up in your office. So when people walk through, see, like me, you must have several. What are your ESC department, your ELL department, your English, reading, your math, your science, your social studies, your performing arts. What exactly are they doing here? And at the top, you want to increase proficiency for all students. One thing that helped me identify when I did this, I had to make sure that my English and reading teachers, my science and math teachers, were on board with the training for growth and development, because English teachers were teaching the kids a lot of the reading strategies. But then when the kids left the intensive reading and the reading class, and then they go to science, they were not receiving those same strategies. So we had to find a way to bring everyone together under one roof and says, all right, from here on out, we start and going back to the basics. What are some closed reading strategies that you can use? Here's what the English and reading intensive reading teachers are sharing, kids. Here's how you can implement this in your science and your math and social study classes. So it helped out. As a matter of fact, we had a huge increase in with our lower 25%. Number 6, hire great people, train them, align, and retrain key personnel to meet the school goals. And I'm just saying with that, you have to make sure you take care of, you have a great onboarding process. Like I said, all of this is in the book that's going to help you and to provide more clarity. And if you're not a mentor and you don't have any good mentors, do your best to try to go by and see them. And when there's a substitute, your teacher's out, go by and see your sub. Your sub can do more damage, sometimes more harm than good. I had one, I just walked him off my campus. He was asleep. And a kid came to the classroom and said, Dr. Epps, our sub is asleep again. I said, what do you mean again? He said, he sleeps all the time. So I went and got him and says, dude, you're going to have to go. I wasn't asleep. I don't care what you call it, but you're going to have to get out of here. So I banned him. I got him out and couldn't come back. I know we were short, but don't rob me. Don't rob me like that. And he was robbing me of money and time. And my kids loved learning. And so for a kid to come to find me, personally found me because they knew I would handle business, the sub is sleeping again. This dude was knocked out. I walked him off my campus. You're getting paid for the day, but go home and don't come back. So make sure you do it. And last one we have here is establish a coaching model and a continuous improvement model. So you already have a lot of these things in place in your school. Orange County is on the cutting edge, always has been, and I brag about Orange County all the time. But education and leadership is messy. It is more than skills. Education and leaders need to use a variety of leadership styles every week to be successful. Young leaders, I'm just telling you from the bottom of my heart, you have to know what you're doing. You're going to get a lot of things thrown at you, but when you focus on 3 things, your culture, systems, and your instruction, I guarantee you, it will help you put everything in the proper perspective. Focus on those 3. You're going to have a million, but those things can fall under this umbrella of culture and climate, systems of accountability, and then last but not least, instructional practices. What does that look like? How are the teachers being trained? When I get a new one, somebody quit in October, what's the process for bringing in somebody, onboarding them and getting them in the classroom? And what kind of support are you providing so the next teacher doesn't quit?
Right.
And so this is where it hurts you. Good advice here, Ms. Conley.
I love it.
I love it, girl. I told you. You can't just, hey, one time won't work. You got to have me back because I know these people have a lot
I
of
know. I feel like we robbed them a little bit with some of the technical difficulties. It was like, did they get that? Did they get everything? I mean, but honestly, I did put a link on YouTube and in the Facebook group where if you, he said, and I heard him, so I'm a witness, that if you wanted to have an opportunity to win one of these wonderful books that just came out, you can contact me. But guess what? You go ahead and put your email in there and opt into receiving emails from Dr. Epps so that you guys can continue communicating. And then he'll get that email and then he will choose a winner. I'll choose a winner. However, we'll work it out later to receive that book. But it's important for us to get that email because I want to make sure you guys have these links as well. So if you go ahead and I'll read up the link as well, the form, so that we can make sure you have this presentation and that action planner because it is valuable and wonderful information.
Yeah, and just to wrap it up, you see my contact information is on the slide, so I don't want to repeat what you already have. And please, I'm gonna end the presentation. I think I did. I end it.
You're good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm back. And one of the things I get a joy out of, you can't get it all in one day. And so when one of the leaders out there contact you, Ms. Conley, or me, and says, hey, can I get some coaching or just call you for some advice? Feel free to reach out. I'd rather for you to reach out with a question. There are no dumb questions. Well, they are some dumb questions, but I'm just going to be honest with you. They are dumb questions. So, but ask some questions. I don't want you to lose your job because you're unfounded.
Right.
You're uncertain about certain things. And I don't want, if you're confused, if there's a situation you've never seen before. I've had death on my campus. I've had a kid got hit by a train because there's a train right next to the school on my I-95 by my school, and those in West Palm Beach, And so this kid, he left camp to jump the fence, got on his bicycle, and he was deaf and hard of hearing. And what he did, he didn't hear the train, but he got hit by the train and killed instantly. So I have to handle that. And then in the last 2.5 years with this COVID, I've lost 8 teachers.
Wow.
6 teachers, 2 non-instructional. So those are some funerals. And then some of my students lost parents. What do you say? What do you do? Mm-hmm. And so those are things I've experienced. And then, what do you do when people come after you for no reason? You're like, I didn't do anything. You get falsely accused of some things. I've been there. And then you just stay the course and you keep your head up and you stay positive. And you want to make sure that these people, that you have your back, and don't say anything dumb or stupid. If you have any kind of representation or legal representation or union rep up there or partner, feel free to reach out to them. But let us guide you on those things. So, and you can be coached on those because one thing I've learned as a principal before I was assigned here, I worked in employee relations. I was one of the managers, employee relations, when I left Orange County after 20 years, and I went to Florida State University. I was principal of the K-12 school, that's called Lab School. And it was an A school, one of the best, had a 99+% graduation rate. And I'm like, really? Y'all really need me up here? So anyway, it was fun. But through prayer, I ended up coming back down here to Palm Beach County. And I ended up at a school that really needed my skill set. And that's why I felt valued and needed, where I can get up every morning with challenges. And I'm just a high octane. I'm a 93 octane person. I just like to go. And I want you to be sure. And last but not least, I said like to go. If you don't take care of yourself, who will?
That's true.
Who will? I guarantee you a lot of you have vacation time that you won't take. And then when you're on vacation, you take a short time because you're looking at your phone, email, and find out what needs to happen. And I can tell you, I'm just preaching to the choir. I'm sitting here with 2,300 hours.
Right.
And so, like, when can principals really take and then administrators take time off? Here in Palm Beach, believe it or not, you either be a 10-month AP or an 11-month AP. So you get a month off or 2 months off.
Wow.
And they've had this here for years. And they pay well, but I'm just saying they give them time off. So that's my presentation today. I didn't want to linger, but my job is to make sure that I pass on some of the nuggets that's going to help you do a better job, a rewarding and satisfying job, but you definitely take care of yourself.
Amen. So there's some comments here. This is the feedback, Dr. Epps. So that great information. Thank you. Please come back. They want you back.
You froze again.
Do another one.
All right, that's on you. You schedule, because I didn't even get to the part of managing the unexpected. Yes. That's part 3. So we're going to manage the unexpected on how you take care of self.
Which part?
Say again. So we want to make sure that we take care of ourselves in a health way. How do we make self-care? What do we do for self-care? How do we manage? Since I left my school, I've started a meal replacement, but I started monitoring myself. I've lost 15 pounds in a month and a half. And so you just have to you got to water. But I can tell you the stress of the job does take a toll on your body, your mind, your marriage, your family time, your kids. And so how do you're torn between 2 lovers, not basically, but not literally, but just saying you love what you do, your job. It provides you the means to the lifestyle you have. And so you get money, and then all of a sudden your counterpart, your significant others and kids like, I want to do something. I remember days when my daughter sat in my office while I'm at work because they're out of school, but I had to work because I had things to do. So the other part is managing the unexpected. And that's what we're going to really talk about us. How do you manage your life as a leader?
Yes, and that's very important because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I'm a big believer in self-care, taking care of yourself, even though I still struggle with taking that email off my phone. And then I'm mad because people are emailing on Sunday, but I'm reading it. That doesn't make any sense. So I took it off at about 2:00 today because I needed the last bit of my time on the weekend because I think it's really important. So yes, I will not have however many hours you have at the end of my career because I do use most of them, but most of it is, taking care of family. So it's all good.
Oh, so who's going to win the book? How are you going to determine who's going to win the book?
So they're going to give me their emails, right? So I did a form and I'm going to resubmit it again. So if you're here, if you even did a playback, because you're doing the replay, because not everybody could make it, and I completely understand. I did receive feedback from the last 2 lives that I've done and just asked for it to be in the daytime. So we tried to hit on a Sunday after your family time going into the evening. So hopefully there were more people here this time, so that's great. But if you do watch this on the replay, you will see that form, and I'll put it up in the group because that's pretty much the only place I can put it in. But the group, give us your email, and then we'll do some drawing. I'm all about a drawing. If you're in my group, I'm shaking cups and pulling names. So we will do that, and then Dr. Epps or myself will contact whoever that winner is, and then we'll get that book to you. But again, the book is on Amazon. So if you're itching for it, the Kindle version, the ebook is already up. So you can go get that right now. I just looked it up. So the Kindle version. It? Yeah, the Kindle version.
I was looking for it. I didn't find it, but I know it's up.
Yep, it's there, So, and then the hard copy is going to be coming right after. So you go look that up, New Principle, no problem. Just type that in Amazon and it pops up first thing. So, but Dr. Epps, I am so grateful, like I said, for your knowledge, your experience. A lot of this resonated with me because obviously I'm in administration, and that's where my moccasins are on all the time, thinking about admin and what can I do to be a better leader, a better coach, a better assistant principal. And I really appreciate these nuggets that you just gave myself and all of those that watched. And I also appreciated that interview question because we do mock interviews in the group sometimes. And I'm big on supporting our new and aspiring leaders in their journey. So I give feedback on interviewing and just kind of some support, encouragement. They throw questions at me. I try to give them some answers. And so that question was a good one I'm going to add to my toolbox because it is one of those that you want to think about, not just if you're asking a teacher, but as an administrator, when you're walking in that classroom, what should you expect to see? So,
Now, one of the things I like to add, one of the other hats I wore here, I wore in the school district. I sat on the AP exit interview. Those APs in the preparing new principal who want to become. I was on that interview committee, and I was a tough brother there. You got to answer the question, and one guy showed up with a notebook. And instead of answering a question free flow, he wanted to read. And I said, oh, no, you were not. You would
Oh,
not
wow.
read to me during an interview.
Yeah.
He had his answers like he had an answer already laid out. I said, if you don't know, you cannot stand up in front of parents and read to them.
Right.
But I have about 30 or 40 interview questions that I would ask APs moving up to principal. So if you would like a copy of those, they're relevant. Now, I just use these because I just hired some APs. And so if you like a copy of those,
Yeah,
I definitely
I
have
would
those
love
and
a
they're
copy.
relevant.
So I can put in the group, because I put guides in there. So we have some, like a hub of questions already. So I would love to be able to add some more, because people are taking those questions and practicing with them.
Okay.
That would be great. I'd appreciate that.
All right.
All right. So
You see, Salmon says she wants to read the book. She wants to win the book.
but if not, she said she'll buy it.
Okay.
And we're going to do this. So I'm going to give just a few days for people to give us their emails, and then we'll do a drawing, and I'll keep you guys abreast in the group. And yeah, it's so interesting because we have a lot of people in the group, but there are people outside of the group. But this group is really bomb, guys. You have to join if you're an aspiring assistant principal or a current assistant principal. We do have a group. It is Assistant Principals Collaborate, and then it has Alve Pro at the end on Facebook. And we're always giving and sharing knowledge and supporting one another on our journeys and little things like we had a networking event yesterday. We went to Top Golf. So we're here to support you all. Dr. Epps, that's all I have.
That's all I have. We had a wonderful, very fast 1 hour. And just pick another time for me to come back because, I'm retiring. So I'll be home and waiting to talk to the group. And in the future, they probably could say, here's some questions, and then I can answer those when I'm on, on next. So spend some time to talk about those. And then because if they're going through it, I know someone else is going through it.
Exactly.
Well, let's look at things from a culture and climate perspective. And then we just look about you and your self-care and your well-management. Amen.
All right, everyone. So if you do have questions, if you're looking at this replay, if you have them, you can put them in the chat. And we're on, text. Yes, I'm texting with Dr. Epps. So if you have anything, I can reach out to him, but he also showed his email as well. So you guys have a great evening, great week. Tomorrow's Monday. Go get you a nice hot shower, hot bath, eat you a good meal, and get some rest before you start the week. So everyone take care. Thank you, Dr. Epps.
Oh, thank you so much. Take care.